Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Blackert,
And I'm Lianka Reyna.
and this is the Hot Hustle Show. Today, we're talking with Kristen Bilecki, and we are talking about multi-dimensional connections and really how to unlock some of the secrets to your true essence. Kristen works with the masters and the councils, and she works with the crystalline grid of the earth and the unified field. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun and play energetically. Today, we are going to have two speakers again. So make sure that you hang out with us as long as you can. Kristen, one of the things that I understand that you do is you really like to work almost on helping people upgrade and harmonize. And can we kind of just start there on what does that really mean to harmonize and upgrade?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I'm really feeling a lot of these upgrades happening right now. A lot of shifts going on in the field, and especially with spring and that feeling of movement forward. And I'm actually
Yes.
in Arkansas. You're in Texas, so we have that similar, weather going on, which is just gorgeous. And upgrades and harmonization is, I love this. So upgrading is really creating a new perspective, a new vision, a new lens, a new awareness, a new way of being in the body and in the mind and the heart. And so really it takes that experience of going, wow, who am I in the way that I view the world? Who am I in the way that the world has viewed me, and that I've conditioned my life through? And how would I like to shift that and upgrade my life, and upgrade it to a possibility that is more joyful, more harmonized, where harmony comes in, that my mind and my heart are connected. My true passions and my thoughts are in alignment. My physical body and how I'm communicating with my physical body and how I'm wanting to experience my internal and external reality harmonize, right? That it's in tune. The frequency and the resonance of what I'm thinking is the same of what I'm really feeling, rather than, those internal battles and struggles that we can go through when when we feel that maybe we're confused or we're doubting or we're frustrated and we're holding a lot of thoughts and feelings that we're not tending to, and that's where we really get out of harmony, because we build up a lot of energy around things that we're not truly allowing ourselves to really have communication with. And so these upgrades are really about creating that deep inner listening and connection to the self, and doing the shift and transformation work that allows that clarity and the honesty and that passion and the love and the connection to build to where our frequency is really, you know, abundant and rich, in the way that we move and think and feel.
Yeah.
That sounds so lovely. But it also, for someone like me that has been on my journey, well, my question is how long have you been, were you always this way, or what was kind of your path here? Give us a little bit of the backstory of how you got to arrived at this, because it sounds lovely, but sometimes for me, I forget to, whoa, I forget to, be in that space and to really be the gift, accept the gift of what life has to offer in all of these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super easy in the way our lives are constructed to do that. It's a part of the human reality right now that actually is a gift in a way, because it allows us to go,
Yeah, I got that.
what do I
Wow.
really want to be doing? Is this really where my priorities are, my focus or my values want to be contained? And I feel that as we're going through these shifts right now, it's really bringing that up for a lot of people, going, ooh,
Hmm.
putting my energy. And that's where I started, was really recognizing energy. As a
Yeah.
young child, I was very uh, unhappy. I was not, I recognized that I wasn't happy being in life. And I remember just looking out at the world and feeling the world, looking from that space and that body of like, oh, like, what is this,
Yes, yes.
And,
What happened? Where am I at?
and, and it's interesting because, I played a lot, I had a lot of neighborhood friends, I grew up in that era where we all just ran wild in the
Loved
neighborhood,
it.
never
Yeah.
know what we were doing. So we had that freedom. But I also, years later, when I can look back on it, I also recognize that I was picking up a lot and recognizing a lot of unhappiness and all of what we might call the negative emotions or you know, dissociation and disresonance in families. Because when I
Yeah.
look back at my
Yeah.
childhood, I was like, there was nobody that was happy as an adult on that block.
Yeah. I gather that. Uh-huh.
There was illness, there was, tragedy, there was all this stuff. And I just feel like I was like, whoa, this is not like the life that I thought I was going to be stepping into, right? It was like I had that cognizance as a child. And so, and then as I grew up, so it just kind of made me close off. It made me close off to life and the world. And I just kind of went into this space of like, okay, I'm just going to stay here and I'm just going to let everything happen around me. And I don't,
Hmm.
even though I was involved, I played sports and different things, but then and then I was bullied when I switched from a Catholic school to a public school. And so then it made me angry. I was like, like, why is life like this,
Yes.
And and then I just started to, I remember I went back to Catholic school. And then when I had this very clear thought in the summer between going from Catholic school to a public high school. And I was
That's a
shifting
big
into,
deal.
yeah, I had this very clear thought of, I know I'm going back into public school. I know that my initial experience in public school was hell. That was my perception
Yes.
of it. So I'm going to try to focus on myself. I'm going to try to focus on something that makes me feel good. And it took a couple of years. It wasn't until like my junior year when it was all of a sudden like, I'm really going to focus on what I enjoy and what I like because I was observing. Because I was always observing. And I saw these groups of people that seemed to be happy and, doing things they enjoyed. It was mostly the artists and the musicians, and things like that. I was like, I'm going to go make friends with them.
Yeah. They sound pretty fun anyway.
Yeah. So I did. And it just started opening me up to myself, and what do I really enjoy? What makes me happy? And then my sister, who was 15 months older than me, we were kind of close on and off growing up, and we had similar friends at some points. We had a great time, but she actually started getting the yoga journal.
Huh.
And so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I started, what turned me on was meditation. And
Wow. At that age, the last thing I was doing was slowing down.
Right?
I partied, I did all the whole bit, but there was something in me that knew what that was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there was something in me that understood what yoga was and what meditation was. And so I started exploring that. And I remember at the age of 20, when I was finishing up community college, and I was like, well, I was really connected with nature and earth. That was like my solace from a childhood.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hand in the dirt, in the trees, happy, is what happy could be at that point. And and I remember at the age of 20, I was kind of getting to a point where, that whole party stage and everything. And I was like, you want to know what? Everything that I'm seeking, this is a thought that came in, I can experience through meditation.
Wow.
Expansion, the openness. And,
Yeah.
and then I ended up moving to California from New York State where I grew up. And it just blew my whole system open. I ended up living with a spiritual community that I just happened into. And it was just like everything was opening up and my intuition was opening up. And so I started to explore that. I was taking medical intuitive courses. I kind of took a little shaman course. And then after a while of developing, like really recognized that I had these abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travel the dimensions. I had these abilities to see what was going on in people's systems. And I just heard, you don't need to take any more courses, just do what you know how to do.
I love
And
that.
Yeah.
and sometimes when you're called to do a course, then you can choose it, right? But it's not a force or a have to before you can get going with anything.
Absolutely. It's like trusting that trusting the self and trusting what you're receiving and feeling and noticing. And so for me, because it kind of became that idea of I need that validation of the certification for people to listen to me.
I've been there. Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm sure other people listening can, relate to that too. And then it was like, I'm always a system buster too. I'm always like, yeah, whatever. This system that's in place is not the real system, so I don't need to be a part of it. So I was like, no, I don't need that.
Right.
And that's exactly why we're excited you're on the show. We
Because
love you. We love that kind.
Yeah. the humanoid kind,
Right? Busting through those systems.
the aliens out there, the ETs.
Yes.
Really
And
creating and holding that space where we're not giving our power over to something that's false.
mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that's a part of the major upgrades that I've started to go through myself and then support other people in is going, wow, what truly is the harmony of our being? Where do we really
Mhm.
want to be putting our power and our energy and our focus? And start to dissolve all those connections in places where it even could just be, thoughts or ideas or conditions from childhood or whatever it is, or maybe a job matrix that we're like totally caught in that isn't really nurturing us and supporting us and letting ourselves really evolve and open to the level that we want to, or family dynamics, supporting
Mhm.
recognizing their roles in their family. And if they've been thinking they need to be a certain role, but then, oh, wait, that's not even really what my children want from me, but I keep thinking that I need to show up that way, or my husband, or whatever, and just
Right.
totally making the self. And that's like, so the upgrades are really just going, dissolving the ways that we've been operating that aren't really who we are and what's really resonant in our life. And boom, then when we step into that, the harmonization just naturally starts to happen.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, I would like to have the audience sample your work and kind of play with them. What would be the best way? Can we do like a little group activation with the Crystalline Grid?
Really? Yeah, we could do
Or
that.
we can take callers, or what would be best for
Maybe a
you?
little both?
Or both? You
Yeah,
want to do
take a
both?
little
Let's do
bit of
both.
both. Let's take some callers or questions in chat
Nice. And
first.
then we can, mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know that they know what question to ask yet. So can you kind of tell them what you can help them with?
Yeah, that's great.
And maybe you do one on us first as we get little people's hands raised.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I say the questions can be unlimited because I can just tap into the field and just doing, but I like to focus more on really getting clear on what it is that if you're having challenges with clarity, if you're having challenges with opening up to yourself, if there's fears or discomforts, if there's, I don't focus on future stuff. I don't do like future readings or supporting what's in alignment in your life. Is this job? Is this relationship or whatever? What can really, where's the change and where's the struggle? What's change you want to be making? Where's the struggle?
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, struggle's real, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. If we keep it in place, it will be right.
Oh, yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. All right. Well, Dawn, sorry. Yes. You want to
Unmute.
unmute, please? Thanks.
Good morning, ladies. Thanks so much for doing this. It fills my heart with joy to start my day with you.
Yay.
And I have been struggling, and that's not a secret. I think everybody in my realm of existence knows I've been struggling. I've been dealing with a lot of health and mental concerns and trying to find my way and my purpose. And I think we discussed before that part of my path forward is accepting that I'm a healer. And I'm wondering how best to do that, and maybe where my abilities came from, and how to explore them in a more full, rich way to make my life worth living and to be there for my family.
Wow, that's a full. Thank you for
Go big or go home, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just feeling that and just feeling that space inside of you where, there's that dawn that has been, the dawn that wants to become, and the dawn that is, and I'm just seeing like this, you know, strip of like, where am I in all of that?
Yeah.
Where am I in all of that? And so the question, so a lot of what I like to do is lead self-inquiry, not just give information, because that's where I feel like the juice is when you can go inside yourself, and I support the process, is going, what are you attached to? The question that was coming up as you were speaking is, what are you attached to from the old that's kind of still the pullback? What are you attached to?
Well, I think
Oh, you're muted.
being a healer.
Okay, you're attached
Oh,
to what? No, you're unmuted. It just broke up. You're attached to.
okay. To being a healer,
Mm,
for the universe as a whole, but particularly for my family. We've had a lot of trauma,
mhm.
and to heal the trauma in myself so that I'm my best self.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's always interesting, and this can go for anybody that's listening, is that a lot of times when we receive a message, Dawn, that we're something, that we have a skill or an ability, that we know that we can do something, there comes that confusion of like, well, what does that look like? Right? How do I do that? What does that mean? But then there's also a lot of pressure. There can be also a lot of pressure that can be built up around that of going, oh, I'm this. It's like that label. So what I'm seeing is and calling yourself a healer, I feel like it creates a lot of tension in your body, like a lot of, especially in your sacral area, there's a lot of tension of like,
Oh,
oh, what is that? So what I'm hearing is that what might lighten the process is shifting the focus from I'm a healer, right, to how is it that I support and guide and facilitate healing?
mm,
Because then it takes the responsibility off. Like, I'm the one doing the healing, right? And I see these threads from past lives too, because really, when we let go of the idea that we're doing the healing, because we're really not, what we're doing is we're holding
no,
space for the energy to come in so that we have the clarity and the guidance to support
yeah.
and facilitate the other person to be in a space to receive the healing that they are wanting and creating for themselves, right? So it's kind of when and I'm feeling that pressure. And then I'm just also seeing past lives and threads of yourself as being a healer. So I'm seeing persecution. I'm seeing places where you've taken so much energy on from doing your craft or doing your thing that it destroyed your system. Right. So it's kind of, there feels like there's a lot of deeper healing that needs to happen here on redefining what it means for you to step into this new role and releasing a lot of the energy from the past that you're still carrying into what that means for you now. So it's like, and going, okay, um, so how does that resonate in this moment?
Absolutely, it does. And then it creates the question, how? And how do I do this fast?
Well, this is where we also get to open up to the divine timing, because the fast, that, because I can feel that pace, that you're wanting to set, that isn't the pace, right?
Yes.
Going, okay, I know that all these things, I want to be able to tend to all these things in my life, with my family, with the universe, with the whole thing as a whole. But what needs to happen is right here first, right? Let's focus on your own inner connection to that and space. Take some deep breaths into it, and invite from within the skills and the abilities, because you asked, where do the skills and abilities come from? And when we're in that tension, of, it's like, just like for anybody, when you receive a vision or an idea, and then you're like, oh, I just want to just jump up and do it, right? And there's that tension to have that, automatic and immediate experience, like, so that immediate gratification, you know, we need to create space. First, we need to create space for the information of that vision to truly land, and for us to really connect with it and communicate with it and cultivate it. Right. So knowing that, what I'm seeing, like, so just to give you a perspective here, what I'm seeing is that with your family, and I know that, we, especially with women, we carry that, we want to see the healing and the changes in our family. Right. And what I'm seeing though is that there's plenty, of time and space right now for you to just sit with yourself and take those deep breaths. And those skills and abilities, when you clear that tension over the time, over the have to, over those past things that are going on, that are still bleeding into this experience, then you can go, all of those things will start to naturally come alive, and you'll receive and know, what to put your attention and awareness on. Because when we create that tension around something, then it's harder to receive it, harder to be with it, because
Yeah.
of the way our brain wants to contract around it and make it into something. It's like we want to form it, we want to mold it and go, wait, it already is something. So if it's already here, because I know that's what I'm doing and who I am, then let's breathe into what's already here and let that start to guide the process. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I feel like, okay, it's already here. How do I see that more fully in the moment?
Yeah, it's inviting the conversation with it, seeing it as something that's a part of you rather than something that's separate and outside of you that you have to achieve.
Mhm. Okay, that resonates. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. So we have a comment on the chat, and it says, Deborah says, yes, I'm having difficulty with clarity on what path I should be going on. I'm now 60 and retired and searching for both my creative outlet and connections. I moved and I don't have any friends in my new town. What can you tell me about what my soul wants me to know?
Ooh, yeah.
And if she is on the line, we may be able to get her to talk to you. We really try to bribe her to.
And Deborah, if you want to come on mute, but I think she can tap into that.
So much newness here, Deborah.
Yeah.
Wow. Retiring and moving, and yeah, sounds like a new canvas to start to create with, huh? So let me just tune into Deborah, your soul, and what's there for you. Hmm. So really curious too, and you can either write it in chat or I'll just keep tapping in, is this land. It feels like it's calling you. It feels like the land is really calling you to connect with the actual land and the energy of the land and the geography and the history and the nature that's there. It feels like that would be really opening for you and could lead you into new connections with people through, meetups or so your soul is like saying, just be on the land. You move to that land for a very specific reason, and it feels like that land will be very healing and providing for you. And it feels like there's something there, and it's like I see where you are, like where you are in your home and the geography, and then I'm seeing something that's close by you, and I don't know if it just feels like there's a density of nature, something like a forest or something that's like, come to me. That feels really reviving for you and vitalizing for you. And And I feel your childlike nature wanting to come alive in that space that allows that passion, that playfulness, that creativity, that curiosity, that exploration to open up, that will then open your field to the connections that want to be had. But it's almost like just connect with your childlike curiosity, connect with the nature that's there, and connect with just feels like there's a lot of beings and nature beings that just want you to come out and play and support you in kind of shedding all the stuff you've taken on, in life pre-retirement and working. And now's your time. It's like now's your time to be in joyful connection. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Just not put any pressure on yourself to have to create something or do something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Deborah, we welcome your comments in the chat.
Yeah.
And she might be listening and have to hear it on replay as well. So that'll be a good message
That
for
was
Deborah.
a good one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So, anybody have oh, she just responded.
She said, I love that. I'm in Florida, Florida Space Coast area, and thought about volunteering for horse farms and help sea turtles. I'd love to go hiking. I do love to go hiking, so spot on. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want a reading? You need to raise your hand. In the meantime, I'm just going to share a little awareness that I got while you were saying that, Kristen, like when these are so clear. And one of the things that I just got was that doubt is like the opposite of gratitude in a way. And it was just weird that it even ran through my mind. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And maybe I can get your perspective on it. But when you have these moments of like total clarity, it's almost as if there's a certainty and there's no room for doubt. And all you can be is this already is, and celebrate it. And it was just so weird because I'd never even like made that connection before and thought, gosh, like certainty, not conclusion like certainty or a definitive point of view of certainty, but certainty of the energy of what you and who you are. It's just kind of like all this delicious gratitude. I guess more I was wondering that those are our thumbs. We don't know why it does that. We can make it do other things too. We've looked.
It's a setting, but
Yeah.
it's kind of funny when it happens.
Sometimes when we do this, it'll like make all these like stars and things. Sometimes it doesn't. What are your thoughts about that? Like, do you feel in your life that you are overflowing with gratitude? Is that why that came through right now, or what is that?
I've been working with gratitude a lot. And actually, as you were saying that, immediately, right when you said doubt is the opposite of gratitude, I just had this rush of emotion and like tears, like came to my-
Exciting. Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah, such a profound clarity that you received, because it really is. It's almost like that when we have doubt, then we go against or we're in opposition.
Mm.
And we have that like, oh, that's not true, that's not real. So then we shift from what's there and what's real to, lack or disconnect
Or past shit. Yeah,
yeah,
past story, past narratives. When you don't think that you're good enough, might fall in all that and everything. But when you have this, and can go direct with consciousness and have this guide to clarity, then, I can see how that the other side of that would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful just for following this energy, so anyway, that came up while you were doing the other reading. So I just thought I would bring that up. I just thought that was kind of profound.
Yeah, Jenith looks at me and we're on mute and she's like, wow, she is really clear.
Yeah.
And when you were talking right now about how you got tears, it reminded me of A Course in Miracles, where it says that love is actually the opposite of fear. not courage. And so that also made me think love. And we always hear about how gratitude is the accentuation of that love for a creative nature. And the love that we're talking about is the generative creation, not necessarily like the, the love
Yeah.
that I let, the
Like
boyfriend, girlfriend love, but the love that all there is that naturally creates and permeates through all of our universe.
It's even like the love that we're creating in this space,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah,
cool that
it's,
you
like, really
actually give us messages withat even saying
I
words.
know,
It's
that was like
beautiful.
totally out of the blue. I was like, where the heck did that come from?
I love it.
All right,
That's
Ingrid,
the
you're
power
up.
of the resonance field.
Go
Can I
ahead.
share a little bit more on that? Is
Sure.
one of the things that I have found that has been an extremely powerful practice or clarity for me, and that I support other people in, is having gratitude for even the doubt.
Yes.
Because then that, by acknowledging it, by acknowledging that anything that feels like it's, in opposition or not what, those challenges, the challenges, and having gratitude for the challenges, then it can open us up to the communication with it for us to create the healing for it, right? And then give us that love and openness. And it can take the charge out of it. And sometimes if you notice, if you can have gratitude for something that doesn't feel good, it immediately can take the charge out of it.
Yeah.
And then it can be like, oh, wow, I don't need that. I don't need to put my attention and focus there, or it just leads to that path of healing.
Yeah, I get really, really curious about where'd this come from? What can I do with this? And follow those moments. That's beautiful. It kind of woke me up. All right, Ingrid's on the line. She's waiting. Hi, Ingrid.
Good morning. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share with you and with Kristen. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this. I'm getting ready to start a brand new job. Super excited about it. It brings together an amalgamation of all of the past work I've done in a brand new way that I had never anticipated. And yet there's a part of me, and this of course comes right after we were talking about doubt and remembering all the things that led up to this, and how to really step into this in that higher way, that way that we all know we can be, and leave as much of that doubt, and will it work out, and how could I be different than I am, and bring all the things into this position that I really want, and the people that I want to serve, from this particular point. So my question to you is, how to really fuel my movement forward, even with the doubts, even with the things that didn't work out before, and you're like, well, don't do that again, where you're just trying to prep yourself to go forward, and wanting it to be this grand, platform and success, but knowing that there's going to be a lot of challenges on the way, and finding a way into and through that's going to be as harmonious as possible. So any thoughts you might have on that?
Yeah, fantastic question, Ingrid. It's nice to see you again, connect with you
It's
again.
great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, considering what I know about what you've done, what your work has been, it's been profound, profoundly amazing work in the world. And connecting in with this, and I feel like you're already on the right track with going, okay, I know there's going to be challenges, acknowledging that, not being the star-studded, great new opportunity, oh, there's doubt, but I know it's all going to be great, going, okay, yeah, I want this to be successful. So what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing you like kind of holding doubt like outside of you. Like you're like, okay, yeah, it's over there. Don't really want to, I don't want it to creep in or mess up my reality. But what I'm actually seeing is to invite that doubt to yourself. So the doubt, you can sit with the doubt like it's a living, conscious, breathing experience, because it is, right? It can be for us. It has a lot. Doubt is an extremely amazing healer, once we can see it that way. So what I'm seeing is you actually connect with the doubt and say, okay, I doubt, I see you, I hear you, you're here. What do you need to show me? Where am I? Because when we hold doubt at a distance from ourselves, then we kind of just go, oh, everything's, we can kind of go into that space of everything's going to be okay. And I'm just going to go over here and ignore my feelings or ignore my thoughts. And that creates openings, for other things to creep in, the fears and, or like you were saying, the old patterns.
Yeah.
So in the doubt is wrapped up in the past. Maybe things, like you said, haven't worked out. So you're going, oh, is that going to happen again? So you tend to those things. What happened in the past? Like, what were your behaviors? What were your thoughts? What were the things that were present there that you don't want to happen again? And connect with those things, and welcome into a possibility of, wow, now that I know that can be a tendency of mine or a pattern of mine, what do I want the new pattern to be? What do I want the new tendency to be? And that becomes a really powerful thing. What I like to support people in doing is sometimes role playing in your head, role playing in your reality, going, okay, if this shows up, if this conversation or this event or something shows up, how am I going to speak? How am I going to respond? What's going to be that new behavior? What's going to be that new experience for myself? So it's kind of like really going into it, letting yourself have the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, and have that dialogue and connection with yourself. And from there, because I know what you are capable of, with the work that you do too, and that observation and that capacity, you can like cut straight through it. You have that capacity to cut straight through it. And then also what I would say is one of the things that I like to do too is whenever I'm doing a project or working on something, I kind of set it outside of my energy field. I kind of take it, go, here's this living consciousness that I'm working with, which is the new job or the people that I'm going to be interacting with. And it's over here. It's got its own life. It's got its own experience, its own energy bubble. I'm going to disconnect my cords with it. And then I can just communicate with it and connect with it from that space. So it's not so entangled in your own energy system, And then that way too, it's not like this, because, we get that way when we're all courted by family members, work members, all that stuff. And it just becomes like this, it can become a muddled mess, for us to really have that clarity in our system and our life. So then we just kind of, let's just set it over there and communicate with it from that space. Yeah. And so that can help relieve the doubts too, because then you go, okay, I'm going to step into a field right now of that yes that I said to that job, connecting with the inspiration and the motivation to say yes to that job because it's right for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And then go, okay, hey, fear, feel my yes. Hey, doubts, feel my yes,
I'm going to replay what you just said and the way you just said it a lot of times in my mind. So when that does come up, it'll be like, okay, fear, do you hear my yes? Do you remember what that felt like? Like you have no power over me. We're not doing that. I'm going to stick with my yes. And it is a very solid yes. And you can feel it. But that's huge because that was part of the issue from the past, was just getting energetically tied in with everybody and what was happening. And as long as it's out there and I can stay in alignment, I'm fine. Yeah. So the idea of bringing in the doubt, thank you so much. These are huge, wonderful ideas. And I will be sitting today with the doubt because we need to work through that before day one. So, and I will be, bringing this as part of my continuous practice. Kristen, thank you so much.
Welcome. And I love your background, very spring.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to do something that really reflected the way I feel inside. And it does feel like spring in here too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ingrid. Be well.
And Ingrid, you look radiant, by the way. You have a glow about you right now. So it really goes with your background. And as soon as you came on screen, I thought, wow, she's really glowing. So yeah, tap into that. Like, I loved what you said, Kristen, about putting whatever you're working on and the project outside of you and outside of your field, so that it has its own consciousness. I mean, it does have its own consciousness, but so that way we can communicate with it and allow it to show us what it wants. Instead of having all these projections and expectations, that's where I get myself hung up, right? I try to force things, even the business, in my life, to what I want. And when I do that, I set myself up for disappointment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point. And so I feel that, and so and then what I feel that we pick up too is, when we have those projections and expectations, of what we receive and what we would like to receive from it, that vision that we've had is a living consciousness because it's a part of our reality and it has a lot of connection with us, right? Because it's who we are, it's what wants to be created through us, right?
Right.
So then what I sense sometimes is that two-way street. Then we place those expectations into that vision,
Right.
and then it keeps feeding back to us.
Right.
So if we
What
can
we,
keep it
right.
clear,
Cause,
yeah,
right. Because we're master creators. Like, so of course it's going to feed back to me what those expectations, and I've contracted it down when I could just let it grow and be and have its own life.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Deborah put on the chat, what would be a great process to shift doubt to gratitude? And I feel that you kind of already answered that, but is there something else that we would want to put in the field around this?
Yeah. And what came in when you asked that was the somatic experience,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times we're in our heads, about all of this, and we want to figure it out and think about it and have and so then let's go breathe. Yeah. Then we get to think, we get to think about, oh, right. Then switching the mind to what's the solution? Okay, I'm going to drop into my body because I know I'm holding this somewhere in my body. If it's in my mind and it's coming up, then I know something's being triggered in my energetic field and in my body. So then it's dropping into the body, breathing and going, okay, doubt, where are you? Where are you in my body? Or fear, or whatever the emotion or thing, challenge is, where are you? And find that space, because normally we will find that space of tension, maybe we're holding our gut tight, maybe we're, our shoulders are contracted, or our shoulders are up, or maybe it's in the heart and we're feeling sadness or grief or disconnect, whatever it is. And then it's going, okay. One of the key pieces here is in this space, the gem of myself truly exists. All this is doing is coming up from that space, because a lot of times that doubt is really coming up from that space also that really truly knows the truth, right? And that we've had some reason or some experience that's created the doubt that's covering that up. We've used it to cover it up, right? Out of fear or discomfort. Then we go, wow, doubt. Thank you for showing up, because I know underneath you in my body is this beautiful energy that I am. And my energy and my knowing is this beautiful energy that I am. So support me in finding that space. And I'll breathe into that. And from that space, kind of going, oh, there's the light there underneath that. I'm going to shine it on the doubt. I'm going to open up to that doubt. And I'm going to say, you want to know what? I'm thankful for being here and even receiving the information that I could have doubt about, right? Because that information is actually wanting me to grow and expand and do something and experience something and feel myself more fully, right? So it's kind of like taking it into the body and breathing there, letting the energy start to flow.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I noticed that when I don't know, can't even think when doubt used to come into, but like I don't feel like I'm even aligned with doubt anymore. Like sometimes I can make a big goal or wish, right, and put it out there, and it's almost like I'm just going to do my best to get to it. It's not like I doubt if I can or not. I was trying to think of a specific situation around it but there was years before when I just laid in doubt. And it seemed to come back to like self-esteem or self-worth or something like that. Is that what you typically find around doubt?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Doubt really comes a lot from that space where maybe we've been rejected in the past, and or maybe we weren't supported, or maybe we felt disconnection from somebody that we wanted love from, maybe our mother, our father, or anything like that, or maybe we felt an inspiration about something and we dove straight into it and it fell flat and it didn't work out, so then there's that fear of actually taking that step, because what if that happens again? That sucks. So that's that space that will show up when we talk to the doubt, like, oh, I hear that. And maybe you'll have memories of the experiences, or maybe you'll feel it, in your body, and you'll hear the words that somebody said to you, or you'll say, wow, I hear that. I feel that. I recognize that I'm still carrying that experience. I'm still carrying that experience as a part of my reality that's affecting my experience now. So then so then it's like asking that part of ourselves, is it okay that we heal this? Is it okay that we let this go? Is it okay that we don't operate from this place anymore? Right. And ask that part of yourself, what do you need? And can I provide that for you? Can I provide the love, the nurturing, the connection, and doing it to the best of your ability in that moment, and that sometimes can lead to a much deeper process. It really goes in deep to any of the traumas, and maybe that's where you reach out for support from somebody else. But in those moments, sometimes we really can, just by having that connection with ourselves, wow, okay, so my 8-year-old just really just wants to go sit and stare at a tree, or wants to draw, or wants to play. And maybe if I give that to them, they can feel that freedom again, just to be themselves, right? Or whatever it is. Or go, wow, that fell flat. What did I learn from that? If I take away the anger or the frustration around it, what did I learn from that? What did I learn about it? What did I see from people? And what are patterns that were there in myself that maybe created part of it falling flat? And can I be okay with that? Can I accept that and create something new and different? So there's all these different ways we can look at it and start processing the experience that can allow us to go into that deep self-inquiry and that deep space of, ah, I want to create change. What does that look like? And how do what would be the best path for that?
Yeah, getting really aligned with what it takes. And I guess that process can really work whether it's overwhelm or fear, like any big bubble, maybe less with grief, because I think sometimes you just got to go through that one. But yeah, any of those limitations that are really holding you back, I never really looked at it that way. I like the perspective for sure.
Interesting, because when we do that, sorry, I didn't give you time, but yeah, just say one more thing is, if that's the key, is letting ourselves have the emotions. If we need to cry, if we need to feel the anger, if we need to, as long as you're not projecting it out onto anybody else, you're just doing it in your own space, letting yourself really feel what you were feeling in those moments and letting that flow through, so you're not holding it in your body, in your space anymore, is so powerful, because then you free up all that energy that you've been holding, and your energy can renew itself, right, for a fresh start.
Well, this has gone so
So
fast.
fast.
Oh my gosh. But Kristen did put up a special offer for us, and I would like to bring it up and have her go through it.
Mhm. Yeah, the daily
Little more.
upgrade.
A
Yeah,
daily upgrade. Let's talk about that.
yeah. So
More.
so in the daily upgrade, there's several processes that I take you through individually, and all at once. So what the experience supports you with is using different techniques to really get connected with yourself, to become present, to become centered, to allow all the energy that you've taken on from your external reality to, disconnect any cords that you're having, to really tune into the body, to connect with what you're really feeling, so that you can acknowledge yourself, right? And can go through whatever you're holding in your system to flush it out and create more energy, and then really get into your center. Really center into the body and center into your space, so that you really feel what that natural flow of energy wants to be. So there's an activation with your central channel that way. And then we go through really the first step is really connecting with your breath. And what I did is then I took, and then we do the crystalline body. The last one is the crystalline body activation, where we're really connecting with the true sourcing of our light and our energy from within, which really creates, clarity, expanding the field. And then we can also really tap into our truth, really feel our truth, and have the energy and the clarity to move with that. So these processes are something I've been working with, and I do in my morning meditation. And I find that it's really, really powerful, and even gives us energy. Revitalizes the cells of the body and brings more energy. So so at the end of that, after I lead through each recording, has each of those pieces individually, so you can just pop in and listen to one of them if you feel that you need it. And then the last recording is all of them together in one guided meditation. And as I was guiding the meditation, it was like I expanded a bit on some of the processes. And then I also threw in there a gathering that I did in December called Cosmic Rebirth, that takes some of these processes, but also does exactly what we were talking about with moving things outside of our energy field, and clarifying, upgrading contracts, and doing all of that to support the clarity of your field. So we work with breath, we work with tuning into our present moment, we work with really acknowledging ourselves and what we're feeling, centering into their central channel activation, and also working with the crystalline light body to amplify our frequency and our energy. Yeah.
What would you say, how long should people take in doing this work? Is it something that they can go through one a day?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. The timing, so the individual ones range from like 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. The longer one, that's really interesting. I forgot to remember how long that one went, but at least 30 minutes. The all one is at least 30 minutes, to where you can just, if you're in a space where you just want to go in deep and really. Each one of these practices, though, you'll come out feeling more clear and present and connected and grounded, because that's the goal of each one of them individually. And so when you do it all at once, it's really powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous, guys. So if you are wanting this clarity and this daily upgrade, it's $97. If you're watching the replay, you'll find it somewhere on this page. If you're watching on YouTube, it will be in the caption. And wow, what a cool package.
Yeah, and the thing about what I love is that it looks like it builds upon each other. And this is something, like you said, you use daily. So this is something that will grow with us. I feel like, right? Because when I read or when I experience something, I then go and integrate it, and then I can come back and experience it again, and it'll be a whole new opening for me. Is that kind of how you place that out?
Absolutely. Yeah. Each one actually builds upon the other, and kind of, because as we go deeper, we go into a more expanded process. We also work with, sorry, I forgot to mention the gratitude and pure love. We do that as well, to open up that field that just truly expands us into the abundance and richness of life as is, and we're not pinpointing like just money brings us abundance or whatever. It's really open that pure love aspect.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And
It,
yeah, go ahead.
this really seems multiversal.
It
I mean,
is.
it
It
is.
expands us. We do timeline work too. We do timeline.
Nice.
So we're clearing the timelines. Yeah, it was really interesting, because I was doing the individual ones, and each practice, as we go into each practice, we go deeper in and expands farther out. So it's doing both. So we feel that
I
deeply
got you.
Yeah.
flow of And then yeah, I was gonna share. Yeah, so when you asked me about my individual practice, after a while, some of these things just become automatic, and it doesn't take the 5, 10 minutes or 30 minutes. It just becomes like, oh, right, that's what I do right here, right now. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's truly learning the tools.
Yeah,
You know, here are the tools you can use to keep changing and keep upgrading, is how it seems.
absolutely.
Fabulous. I can't wait to listen.
Enjoy. Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Any last words for us?
Ah, yeah. I feel that, the practice that we just shared really brings into perspective what I really like to do is just be present. Be present with yourself. Whatever that takes, really saying hello to yourself, acknowledging yourself, your body, being in the now, not being in the past or the future so much so that because when we're in the now, we access so much more energy, we access so much more information, and we can feel all that we are really starting to open up rather than, you know, parceling ourselves out to all these other places and things. So really coming into the present, coming into your center, and doing what you feel is fun and joyful for you. Really tuning in to what it is that you really want to be doing in your moment. That's really all we have is the moment. What do you really want to be doing in this moment and creating in this moment? And keep focusing on that and that, and that will lead you to the most miraculous places.
No, that's beautiful. I feel that you do that practice every day. You know, that I feel that. Does anybody else feel more present after this conversation? Ingrid's like, yeah. She's the only one on video though.
I imagine, Kristen, that you probably are this energy all the time, and you probably didn't even have to say anything for us to start to receive. I think that's so beautiful.
I know.
Thank you.
It's fabulous.
So I appreciate both of what you're doing and creating in the world as well and having us all together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call this a wrap. That was amazing, though.
That was amazing.